At what age?
Babies as one. So why?
At 18 to 24 months, you know if you're a girl or a boy.
So
you're hardwired in your brain to have your gender and your physical sex match. But things happen that your sexual organs do not match with your...
I understand that, but you're saying delay the reassignment surgery.
As a child, let's say you're born with ambiguous genitalia, okay? You don't know. Sometimes it might even take up to teenagehood. Remember I told you there are critical periods in your life. Sometimes that surge doesn't kick in until you're 14 or 15. All of a sudden, like, I don't feel like a boy, I feel like a girl. And it's not like you're crazy. You're actually getting these messages in your brain. We have a gender center in our brain that tells us if you are a boy or a girl. Okay, physical and emotional challenges that transsexual individuals face. Loss of employment, like what happened with Stanton. We lose our families, we lose our friends. My mother is now beginning to slightly come around, but she feels like she's lost a daughter. And it's like, Mom, you never had a daughter. But it's like, you've got blinders, you know. When they saw me as a kid, running around like a kid, all my aunts and uncles kept saying, she's going to be a lesbian. You know, it's like, what does your mannerism have to do with your sexual preference? But that's the way we're programmed, unfortunately. Discrimination and violence. We face a lot of violence. I don't know if you heard the Gwen story, the movie on Lifetime. Young 17, 18-year-old transsexual who was murdered by her peers. Tons and tons of hate crimes and suicide, discrimination. Dysphoria of our body image and physical sex, which is what leads us to altering our bodies so we can feel comfortable and feel whole and feel complete. Patiently waiting for hormonal changes to take place in order for us to be able to blend and not be ousted. I think the most horrifying things when I was in that middle stage where people would look at me and they were like, is it a girl? Is it a boy? You know, and going to the bathrooms, everything. People just have issues with gender. When they look at you, they're like, It's like, that's a very critical and hard time. Especially, I empathize with my sisters, transsexual females, because they're so tall, they've got the voice, it's awkward, they're still in that stage, and to me it's so important to maybe transition when you're younger, like between your teens, so that you don't, first of all, block the hormones so they don't kick in, so you're not dealing with those secondary characteristics, especially for the male to female. It's a lot easier to pass as a female to male than it is as a male to female. In between surgeries, the ability to integrate and blend into society, trying to lead a productive life. Most people that get fired, what do you think end up doing? Prostituting themselves. End up doing, because what else can they do? A lot of the male to females, you know, people criticize them, but if you get fired, how are you supposed to pay your roof over your head and stuff? Using public restroom is a challenge and dangerous. That's always a scary thing, and I don't know if you guys have actually heard a lot through the media. You know, they're like cross-dressers trying to use female bathroom. They're only going in there to use the bathroom because they're supposed to do that because they're needing to accomplish the Harry Benjamin criteria of living a life as the gender you're transitioning to. So if they're in that bathroom, it's not so they want to peek at you or molest you or perverts. They're doing it because that's what they're doing. And they quite don't look the part yet because they're still in between. There are documentation changes, and this is state-specific. They will change your gender marker once you've had your surgeries, and you come with an affidavit from your doctor, and they've changed my birth certificate, they've changed my social security. It's the same number, but now it reads male. My passport, I am legally married to my lovely wife, Violet. This is, again, state-specific. Some states only require you to have the hormonal treatment and the letter from your psychologist. Other states require partial surgery. Other states require the whole caboodle. Many transsexuals do not have their documentations altered. A, because they can't afford the surgeries, they're halfway, the state they live in just won't do it, creating problems with their employers and law officials. And it creates a lot of rumors, that's what that. The medical challenges that transsexual individuals face. Very few healthcare providers are aware and well educated on transsexual issues, leading to prejudice and discrimination towards transsexual men and women seeking care. Transsexual men and women have a fear of seeking medical care. Why? Because when you go there and you tell your doctor, I'm a transsexual man, he'll say, what? And then he goes and does an examination. It's like, whoa. You know, they don't understand. Right away they think you're a freak, a pervert, have mental issues. Situations such as ER visits and regular checkup become very stressful to a trans man or woman. And another major thing we face, insurance companies deny care and coverage. Type of care. We require endocrinologists, urologists, gynecologists, reconstructive surgeons, internal medicine, psychologists, and nurses. An altered system requires different types of care. Constant hormonal screening, internal checkups, especially a few years after surgeries. Structural changes occur. Once you start taking all these hormones, your jaw changes, your nose changes, everything. I mean, I look in the mirror every day, I'm like, who are you? It's just things just start metamorphosing and changing dramatically. You go through a second puberty, literally. I mean, everything just like changes completely. A lot of these changes will cause pain. For instance, I get a lot of pelvic region pain. Because of the hysterectomy that did it through laparoscopy, I don't know what he did in there, but I have a lot of scar tissue, and I suffer from a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort, a lot of problems with my intestines, maybe the way they move things around, they didn't put the intestines right, adhesions, yeah. Physiological problems from excess pain, discomfort, and lack of understanding from society and the medical community. Not being satisfied with procedures done or final outcomes of surgeries. Leading to drug abuse and promiscuous sexual activities that can lead to STDs and HIV. Usual complications from hormonal use, drug interaction to include alcohol consumption, generalized paresthesia, effects of the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, decreased insulin sensitivity and resistance, the thyroid gets affected, your T4 diminishes, liver toxicity, a lot of changes in your liver value, weight gain, heart disease, increased blood pressure and cholesterol, tumor and cancer growth, lifelong medical challenges, urinary tract infections from hysterectomy or the sex reassignment surgery, intestinal complications from surgical scar tissue, pain from surgery sites from excess scar tissue, pain on injection sites due to abscess and scar tissue. I inject 100 milligrams of testosterone every week. So there's no part in my body, because I try to switch it around. So imagine when I'm 60. It's scary. Ingrown hairs from excess hair growth. Excessive sweating and mood swings as hormonal levels fluctuate. When you're coming down your cycle, and then you have to inject again, so the down cycle is pretty bad. Hormonal complications that can lead to cancer and tumor growth. Fear of seeking medical care due to lack of compassion. To me, that is the biggest problem of all. If you have something you take care of on time, you can probably fix it. But what if you're so afraid to go see a medical professional because you don't want to be ridiculed? You don't want nobody to gawk at you and call you names and treat you like you're less than human. What can you do as medical practitioners or healthcare provider? Compassion and understanding goes a long way. Being genuine and making us feel like real human beings is so important. Become familiar with transsexual issues. Understand the logistics of gender dysphoria, just like I explained to you earlier. At 6 to 8 weeks gestation, the brain develops. In the hypothalamus, there's a gender identity center, and that's where it's created. An error of nature due to hormonal or receptor mix-up. The body did not develop as a brain. Now the transsexual feels trapped and imprisoned in the wrong body, having dysphoria and hatred of their genital and body. Educate those around you, your staff, your family, your friends. The more people know about us, the less ignorance there will be. The fight for our civil rights, the need to have health care coverage for our procedures and medical complication is vital. The need for our government to understand that this is a birth defect, not a choice, is imperative. To create research monies to improve our quality and quantity of life. Education in the school system is needed to prevent children and teenagers from committing suicide or being a statistic. I hate enough that to erase whatever prejudice, whatever religious belief, and I'm a very spiritual man, but I do believe that religion sometimes causes so much harm in our society. I've met many young transsexuals and their parents who are suffering from being belittled and the bigotry amongst them. It is a very hard life to live. We don't choose this. And when we come to healthcare providers for help, please don't ever turn your back on anybody and understand them. And again, don't let your religious belief govern your heart. God created all of us, and we are God's children too. Thank you very much. And you guys have any questions?